guys, it's Simon. This is Pro Wrestling Unlimited, as it's Wednesday, and that means we're here to talk about AEW Dynamite. And yes, I said we're because this way. Luke's back, everybody. We've got Luke back with us to talk AEW Dynamite tonight. Luke, how have you been?
I've been stressed, honestly. I mean, this last week has been pretty rough. I mean, I'm just trying to everything done before finals. Finals is next week, but after that, I'll be back for a while. So
Heck yeah.
now I got a break, so happy to be here. So thought Dynamite was all right. Nothing special. I mean, they were basically just building up towards winter is coming. So
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was a good show. Wouldn't call it great or anything. Main event was really good. But one thing I do want to talk about, Luke and I were talking about this a little bit off air, Miro. So Fightful put out a report, and I'll just pull the report up and read it verbatim so I don't misreport it or anything. But basically, it's like, Tony Khan, what the hell are you thinking? Like, you got what? No ideas for Miro? So Fightful wrote the following, if I can pull it up here. Fightful wrote, quote, Miro has barely wrestled at all in 2022. Actually, he's only wrestled 4 matches all year. But it's not due to injury or lack of wanting to. After Miro's absences, many fans have wondered where he's been. After inquiring with All Elite Wrestling sources, it was reiterated to us that Miro is and has been completely healthy. I was told that he's been cleared and ready to go for months. The report goes on to state that he's been healthy and wanting to actively compete. However, we are told that creative simply hasn't presented for him. That's a weird way to write it. We're told that creative simply hasn't been presented for him. So they have nothing for him. So it's basically, hey, Miro, we got nothing for you. Who's that sound like? Like AEW turning into WWE under Vince, when they're just like, I'm not going to try to think of something for you. We got nothing for you creatively. That's the thing Vince used to tell guys when he's just like, I don't want to push you right now. What? Miro is super popular. How can you say you've got nothing for Miro? Let's look at what Miro has done in 2022 in AEW. So before 2022, the last match he had was at Full Gear where he replaced Jon Moxley in the finals of the Eliminator tournament against Bryan Danielson. That was November 13th. His next match was not till January 6th, where he took on Johnny Elite. Then he didn't work till June 15th, Dynamite. It was a qualifying match for the All-Atlantic title, the All-Atlantic title 4-way at Forbidden Door. He beat Ethan Page, went on to Forbidden Door, lost the 4-way to Clark Connors, Malachi Black, and Pac, then was absent again until All Out, where he teamed with Darby Allen and Sting to take on the House of Black. Then, gone again. And it ain't a lack of him trying, apparently. He wants to get back in the ring. He wants to work. He's not hurt. And they're telling him, there's no creative for you right now. Are you kidding me? How can you have nothing for Miro? I don't get it.
You would expect him winning that 6-man at All Out. You would expect him getting a decent push after that, but nothing.
Something to get him back on TV. Yeah, basically you could have just been like, oh, Miro's back. He picked up a win. Now let's give him some more. I'm not a big advocate of dark elevation, but if this guy wants to work and you don't want him on Dynamite, put him on fucking YouTube then. Do something with Miro. Why are we not utilizing great talent? And it's what? They've got too many guys? Well, Tony Khan, because that's the excuse I always see. Well, there's too many people to focus on every week. You focused on this guy 4 times this year. It's ridiculous. Very ridiculous. But freaking Ari Daivari gets matches every week. Can't use Miro, though. We got the Trust Busters, though. Ooh. What the fuck? That's my little soapbox rant. I don't know if that's the right term, but that's my little rant for the night-ish, kinda.
But on Rampage, at least.
you need something on that show because last week's Rampage was the lowest watched episode in history. Now they're going to try and bolster the ratings by putting Jon Moxley versus Takeshita on the show this week. It'll be a good match, but it's still like, oh, it's a Rampage match. It doesn't matter anyways. We're still under that kind of impression, so it might boost the ratings a smidge. Probably not a lot. But with that, I want to say thank you if you are watching and watching live. Twitch.tv/PW Unlimited, or thank you if you're watching or listening later, whether that's youtube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited or podcast services all around the globe like Stitcher, Spotify, Google Pod, Apple Pod, Anchor, iHeartRadio, and so much more. Remember, if you are watching live on Twitch, you can help us out a couple of different ways. You can either help us out by hitting that donate button down below or by donating Twitch bits in the live chat. Also, remember, you can help us out by subscribing to the channel one of two different ways. You can either subscribe with a tiered subscription or you can subscribe with Amazon Prime. Because remember, if you either have Amazon Prime or have access to somebody's Amazon Prime, whether that's your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, your auntie, your uncle, your grandma, your grandpa, your cousin, your anybody, take that Prime account, take that Twitch account, you link them together, bada bing, bada boom, you're Prime Gaming. Prime Gaming gives you a lot of cool things, free games, free stuff for games, and always one free subscription to any Twitch channel you want to subscribe to throughout the month, and I greatly appreciate it if you did right here, Pro Wrestling Unlimited. Also, on the flip side, if you're watching on YouTube, you can help us out over there as well by becoming a channel member. Hit that join button to become a channel member. You get early access to news, early access podcast episodes, early access non-news videos, and so much more. Last week, we had some exclusive news up there regarding a possible return at the Raw 30th anniversary show. We also put up recently our graphics packages for you guys for both AEW All Out and a WWE Survivor Series. We'll have more of those coming in January. So, yeah. Go over there and subscribe. You can also subscribe at patreon.com/PW Unlimited. And finally, head over to the Epic Game Show. Or the Epic, why did I say game show? I don't even know. The Epic Games Store. Head over to the Epic Games Store and buy something. Whether that's a new game, whether that's an old game, whether you're getting the new season of Fortnite, that it's not just a new season of Fortnite, but they've also done a very big graphics update. This game it always looked pretty good for the art style they're going for, but now this game looks fan-freaking-tastic. Use our code PW Unlimited at checkout for all Epic Games and Epic Game Store purchases, whether, again, that's on your computer through the Epic Game Store or on your PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo Switch for Fortnite, Fall Guys, Rumbleverse, and Rocket League. But with that, we've got AEW Dynamite to talk about. As Dynamite opened up with Excalibur welcoming us to the show, along with Tony Schiavone and Taz. We then started the night with the Dynamite Diamond Battle Royal. And I was thinking, that news came out about Miro. They got no plans for him. I'm like, okay, at least put him in the Battle Royal. No. They couldn't even bring him in for the Battle Frickin' Royal. The Battle Royal was all right. Kind of boring and predictable. Exactly what I said was going to happen happened in Ricky Starks winning. I literally said last week, the only real feasible thing here is Ricky Starks winning. And then the match next week, a winner is coming, is for both the title and the diamond ring. Because it's like, yeah, we know Ricky Starks is losing, but if then somebody else would have won, that's just another match that's way too predictable for MJF. But the participants in the match were Jungle Boy, Ricky Starks, Dustin Rhodes returning to action, Ethan Page, Lee Moriarty, Orange Cassidy, Kip Sabian, Matt Hardy, The Butcher, Captain Sean Dean, Dalton Castle, and Brian Cage. You put frickin' Dalton Castle and Sean Dean in here. No offense to them, but you couldn't use Miro? Come on. Jesus Christ.
I'm surprised Sean Dean even lasted long in the Battle Royal.
Well, that was the whole thing. The big reason for him lasting long in the Battle Royal is because they wanted us to think that there was a possibility of him winning and then going, oh my God, he's actually beat MJF twice and MJF's never beat him. That was the whole thing, I believe. It's the whole, oh my God, if this guy can pull it off, he's got a better chance than anybody of beating MJF because he's done it multiple times. So I think that was the reason he went so long. But also, W. Morrissey's got a new nickname, Big Bill. Big Bill W. Morrissey. What kind of stupid ass shit is that? Big Bill. Early on, Orange Cassidy and Sabin were brawling. It was, I guess, a continuation for what happened on Rampage Friday. That's what they told us. I didn't watch. Cassidy skinned the cat, but the Blade, despite not being in the match, there was a couple things where people not in the match got involved. Hit the mid pool to eliminate Orange Cassidy. Dustin Rhodes eliminated Sabin off of a destroyer and a clothesline. The Butcher eliminated Rhodes to a loud chorus of boos in Austin, Texas, where he's from. Cage then knocked Castle off the apron. The boys caught him. Cage knocked him off the apron again. The boys caught him. Cage knocked him off the apron again. The boys caught him. Finally, they did some crowd surfing around the ring with the boys. Castle was then body slammed over the top rope onto the boys. Boys couldn't catch him that time. They all crashed and burned. So Jungle Boy and Cage, Brian Cage that is, not Christian Cage, wound up on the apron, and Perry hit a Meteora to eliminate Brian Cage. Starks would then eliminate the Butcher, who they were making fun of during the match, going, man, he looks like he don't shower. I'm like, well, what does that have to do with anything? Whatever. Jungle Boy then hit a Hurricane Rana over the top to eliminate Lee Moriarty. While on the apron, W. Morrissey then dropped Orange Cassidy off the apron and eliminated him before then power bombing him onto the apron of the ring. But this was a bad looking power bomb, because he wasn't just power bombed. He was power bombed right on the top of his shoulders, bottom of his neck area. Ooh, that looked very bad. So he's out. Ethan Page and Matt Hardy start double teaming Sean Dean, but Sean Dean eventually kind of overcomes and hits an around the world DDT on Page. Tried to eliminate him, but Hardy connected with a twist of fate to make the save. Dean was then eventually tossed out by Ethan Page, who badmouthed Hardy at one point, who went for another twist of fate on Ricky Starks and then got tossed out. It ended up being Starks and Page there towards the end, as Starks hit a tornado DDT, missed a spear, and Page hit a roundhouse kick. Page went to toss Starks out, but Starks held onto the top rope, and Page was eventually eliminated. Ricky Starks wins, and immediately out comes MJF. Any thoughts on the match itself?
I honestly thought it was going to be between either Ricky or maybe Ethan Page, because, the firm still has some beef with MJF, so maybe this was a way to wrap up the firm and MJF thing.
Right. But
it could have gone either way, but it makes more sense for Ricky.
It does, because they're not going to have somebody challenge MJF for just the ring and win. And I mean, Ricky Starks ain't winning either, but it just makes it even more predictable when you go, well, the champ's got two things he can defend, and he's not going to lose either. So, it's whatever. But MJF does come down to the ring and said next week he'll be a 4-time Dynamite Diamond champion. But I don't understand that, because before he was the Dynamite Diamond champion because he won the Battle Royal. But now he's not going to be a 4-time champion. He's still only going to be a 3-time champion because, hey, dummy, you're defending your ring. You're not winning it. So there was a mistake on his part. Also, I felt like, and this is odd for me to say, MJF was trying a little too hard tonight. His inflections were more than normal, and it just felt like to me, maybe he had a cold, but he was trying to make his voice sound a little deeper, and like he was trying to enunciate a little more than normal. It didn't seem like normal. It's just flowing out of me, MJF, for some reason. And maybe I'm in the minority there. But he seemed a little different tonight in the way he was delivering the promo.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Maybe he was just trying to make this rivalry more interesting. Everyone
Maybe.
already knows that MJF isn't losing, so maybe he's trying to make it more interesting so fans could find interest in it.
Right. I get that for sure. But so he looks at Ricky and he's like, I'll deal with you here in a second. And he goes on and he talks about being the champ and the ring and all that stuff. And then he calls Ricky Starks the drizzling shits, quotes The Rock about wind it up and stick it up your candy ass, and says Starks is nothing more than a dollar store Dwayne. MJF calls Starks. He goes, maybe I shouldn't even say that. Maybe we should just call you the Pebble and send you back to Billy Corgan's NWA on YouTube. MJF hit all his catchphrases before Starks would grab a mic and called him Maxi Pad and a fifth-rate Roddy Piper. Starks verbally lit up MJF from head to toe, talking about his cheap suits, shoes, and heat. MJF always lets people down, he stated, while Starks consistently delivers. He said next week, he shuts up MJF, smacks the mole off his neck, and takes his title and ring. MJF then kicked Starks low, went for the ring punch, and Starks ducked and hit a spear to a big ovation. So, I mean, they tried to build interest here. They tried to make us interested, but I mean, I'm not interested. As much as I'm over the trios stuff with Death Triangle and the Elite, that's a better main event than MJF and Ricky Starks. Because if MJF and Ricky Starks will most likely be the main event. But with everybody knowing that Ricky's losing, why watch? Why go, all right, I've seen everything else on the show. I know who's going to win this one. Meh. The only thing that would make, I think, people interested in the match is them probably going, all right, so Ricky's going to lose, but what could happen post-match? I think that is what could entice people to watch. The intrigue of a new challenger emerging after Ricky Starks gets beat.
Yeah, I'm not really finding interest in this match either. I mean, what could make it interesting? Maybe like they bring out his like next challenger. Maybe that's someone from Blackpool
Right.
Combat Club. Maybe Bryan Danielson.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. That's the only thing that would, if I wasn't watching this show for work per se, and they would go, our main event tonight is Ricky Starks challenging for the AEW World Title, I would go, all right, well, we know Ricky's winning, so why should I even or not winning? Why should I watch the match? You know?
Yeah, I'm sure it could be fun.
Honestly, I would have even been a little more interested if it was Ethan Page, because you have the Firm dynamic of MJF and the Firm were working together. So you would still assume that Ethan Page would lose, but you have that interest of how does the Firm interject themselves? How is the Firm going to get involved? With Ricky Starks, there ain't none of that. He's just all on his own. So there's none of, well, could this element impact the match, this and that, and so forth? That's the thing. If it was Ethan Page, there'd be a little interest there on what would the Firm do. So that would keep me wanting to maybe just see that. But it's like, AEW does this a lot. Too many predictable matches that eventually is going to get fans to go, oh, yeah, I know what's going to happen. Why watch?
Yeah, like this is another problem with them doing just like random like title matches. Well, this really isn't like a random title match. Like they actually like had a whole tournament to like
Exactly.
see who the number one contender would be, but like it's still predictable.
Right? Very predictable. John Moxley backstage saying this is all elite wrestling, not all elite talking, and he enjoys fighting. So this weekend, or this Friday at Rampage, and this weekend on Final Battle, the Blackpool Combat Club will be at their best. Excuse me, I got hiccups all of a sudden. Moxley says that he will be ringside tonight on behalf of the Blackpool Combat Club to make sure the JAS doesn't do anything crazy. And then Moxley said, if Hangman wants another piece, you know where to find me. They had the TNT title on the line, Samoa Joe against Darby Allen. They really played this up like they kind of played it up to the degree of ever since Darby lost the TNT title, he's been on a very big roller coaster as far as never really getting on a good hot streak ever since. And so they really wanted us to think that he could possibly beat Samoa Joe.
I mean, he's been doing all right since losing the belt.
Yeah, he's one of their... It's something Cody Rhodes talked about a couple of years ago with AEW. We're going to push guys, but then eventually you have to know that your time came Now you need to not sit on the sidelines, but take a slight step back while somebody else's time comes, and then your time will come again after that. You can't. Basically, what Cody said like a year and a half ago was, not everybody can always be pushed tremendously at once. Sometimes guys have to get a big push and then wait for their turn to come back around. And I think that's where Darby's at right now. He got a really good push. Now he's always going to be featured, but he's in like that. All right, I'm not a big pushed, high momentum guy right this moment, but I could be again sometime soon. I think that's where we're at with Darby. Early on, Darby Allen sent Joe to the outside with a drop kick, and he attempted to dive, and Joe casually just sidestepped him, and Allen crashed hard on the concrete. Joe held Allen by his legs and drove him into the railing and the side of the ring repeatedly. Joe had smirks on his face as he wanted a power bomb on the exposed concrete. Allen got free and ran to a snap power slam on the concrete. Joe would then violently ram Allen headfirst into the post and sent him spinning to the floor with a doctor checking on him. Joe was waiting for him to be counted out, but Darby would eventually get back into the ring. Allen hit a few kicks, but Joe hit the Manhattan drop, a charging kick, and a senton combo for a 2. Darby Allen then baited Joe to the floor, tried a slingshot dive. Joe caught Allen, but Allen sent Joe to the steps and hit a coffin drop for a 2. Finally back into the ring, Allen hit an over-the-head stunner and a code red, but Joe kicked out. Allen ran into a Uranagi into the corner, but fought out of the corner and tried for another coffin drop, falling right into a rear naked choke. Allen faded fast. His eyes rolled back into the back of his head, and the ref called off the match, basically saying, "Hey, Joe, you win." He passed out. After the match, Allen would get back up and shove Joe, who headbutted him, grabbed his skateboard, and hit Allen with a muscle buster on it, and then put the sleeper on once again. Wardlow would come out to make the save, and there we go. So, cool. We're still doing Joe and Wardlow. I mean, yeah, we're still doing it because Wardlow hasn't got his rematch yet.
Honestly, kind of surprised Sting didn't come out to help Darby.
Same. I'm like, okay, we haven't seen Sting, since All Out?
No, like I think Full Gear.
Oh, yeah, you're right. The Jeff Jarrett match. I wasn't thinking. Yes, the Jeff Jarrett match. Moving forward, Tony Schiavone is backstage with Orange Cassidy and Kip Sabian. Cassidy said if Sabian wants a title shot, all he has to do is ask. Sabian said he's hurt from the Battle Royal, so Cassidy said for him to pick someone for him to defend the title against on Rampage. Sabian pondered for a while and then walked off. Tony Schiavone said that the match is official and that somebody will be facing Orange Cassidy this week on Rampage for the title. So I guess Tony Schiavone can make matches official. Cool, whatever. Video package played, hyping up Chris Jericho versus Claudio for the ROH title at Final Battle this weekend. Before, it was the JAS against the BBC. Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta against Daniel Garcia and Jake Hager. Also, Sammy Guevara was at ringside, and so was Jon Moxley. Claudio faked putting on the purple hat. They threw it at him. He's like, "Oh, do I do it? Do I do it?" And then he tried to do the beach ball spot, where if you remember back in like 2017, with the whole beach ball stuff in WWE, where he grabbed the one that got thrown to ringside and he kicked it back into the crowd. Well, he tried to kick the hat back into the crowd, but it just kind of went ooh and fell at ringside. So that didn't work as planned, but.
Did you see that post that AEW made on one of their social media accounts where they said Jake Hager's hat is all elite?
Was that official?
Yeah, I'll send it to you after, but like, I thought this was stupid. They made like I think it was like a meme or something. They said, like when they sign someone, they say like this person's all elite. They did it like where like Jake Hager's hat is all elite.
I'm looking it up right now. Like, what the hell?
I think it's on like AEW on TNT on Instagram.
I see some people tweeting about it, but
on TV.
AEW on TNT. Gotcha. Okay, hold on. Let's see if we can find this. Oh, yep. I got it right here. AEW on T. Yeah, AEW on TV. They literally tweeted this. Pull it up here on the screen really fast in case other people missed it. I did see this, and I thought it was just from some random meme account or something. Like, are you kidding me? It's not even funny, to be honest. At least not to me. But they sent out this. At Real Jake Hager likes his hat, and we like his signing. This hat is all elite. Okay. Cool. Whatever.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Like once he throws the hat away, and they said release the hat.
Right. And then Marina Shafir tweets this in response. I like this hat. Okay. Whatever. So going forward. Whoops. I just messed everything up here. Hold on. Give me 1 second, guys. Click too many buttons. There we go. We're back. So he fakes putting on the hat. He tried to kick it into the crowd. And there we go. It didn't really work. An annoyed Hager took his frustrations out on Wheeler, who he picked apart in the corner and kept doing frequent tags between himself and Garcia. Eventually, it was just Garcia and Wheeler Yuta in the ring, and they both fired up with some chops, and Yuta hit a standing senton. There was a double big boot by Claudio and Yuta as Hager went back and forth with Claudio. Commentary mentioned how they were former teammates back in the day. So, bringing up the real Americans there. Yuta hit an angle slam on Garcia and a tope on both Garcia and Hager. Back inside the ring, Guevara ran some distraction. Just long enough, though, for Hager to hit a Hager bomb on Yuta for a 2. Yuta then hit a huge superplex on Garcia for a double down spot going into the commercial. Coming back, Yuta was in control and hit a release German suplex on Garcia. Claudio Castagnoli then made the hot tag and delivered uppercuts. Claudio then went for a Hurricane Rana off the second rope and slipped in a spot that could have really looked been bad. Like this could have been very bad. There was a missed Hurricane Rana. Well, kind of missed Hurricane Rana on Raw too that didn't look good. Giant swing was broken up though by Garcia, who was flattened by Yuta with a frog splash. Castagnoli then avoided an ankle lock and hit the giant swing on Hager for 10 revolutions. Claudio then went for a springboard uppercut, and Guevara stopped him right in front of Rick Knox, who did nothing. Like, Sammy gets involved, and they just say, whatever. Moxley then takes out Guevara at ringside, and Hager slapped on the ankle lock on Claudio, while Garcia got the Dragon Tamer on Yuta. Claudio then spun free and sent Hager into Garcia, hitting a huge home run uppercut and picking up the victory. So the Blackpool Combat Club does pick up the victory. Now, before we get into the next spot, any thoughts on the match?
I mean, match was good. It was a good match to wrap up everything towards final battle because Yuda's facing Garcia, Claudio's facing Jericho, even though Jericho didn't really compete. So
Right.
It's basically just one of those matches where trying to wrap everything up going into final battle.
So then the big thing happens. William Regal says his goodbye. So Tony Schiavone got in the ring with the Blackpool Combat Club and said, I have a video I need to play. He sends it to a pre-recorded promo that he did with William Regal apparently 2 weeks ago. Regal said that they'll only see this if something bad happens to him. Regal said that he did what he did to show Moxley, Claudio, and Danielson why they don't need him and can teach Yuta to be the best wrestler in the world themselves. Hopefully, Moxley understands all of this as he is calculating. Regal did what he did, so they always stay one step ahead and keep an eye in the back of their head. Regal said that he is Blackpool Combat Club until the day he dies and then walks off. Schiavone asked Moxley for his thoughts, and he seemed very skeptical. But he said that Claudio and Yuta live, and breathe for professional wrestling. Final battle. The feud with the JAS comes to a close. Moxley said that he challenges any wrestler in the world this week on Rampage. We know that isn't ending up going to be Takeshita, but Regal's done. Regal is gone. Regal is no longer with AEW. He said his goodbyes tonight, but did state, I will always be Blackpool Combat Club. There we go. No Danielson, because they did state earlier in the show, probably just earlier in this match, that Regal is not here tonight because he is at home recovering with Danielson by his side.
Very interesting way to go off TV.
Yeah.
I am not really really excited for Final Battle. What do you think about it?
Yeah, no, none in the least bit. None in the least bit. I got a lot of family things going on, apparently, with everything that happened over the last week. So I probably won't be able to watch it anyways, but it's I don't feel like I'm missing anything not watching Final Battle. To be completely honest.
There's no match on that show that's really standing out to me.
I mean, how many times have we seen Jericho and Claudio? How many times have we seen FTR and the Briscoes? Come on. The one thing that I am looking forward to, they need to put that woman's title on Athena. I think that needs to happen. But other than that, I could care less about the rest of the show.
They need to do something with Athena.
Yeah. Give me 1 second. I have to respond to a message here. All right. So, Regal's gone. He is going back to WWE. And if you didn't hear everything Tony Khan talked about this morning, here's the rough and dirty of it. So, Tony Khan's mom has been having health issues. They've been in and out of the hospital, this and that. Regal went to Mega Parek, who was the head of legal for both AEW and the Jacksonville Jaguars, and basically asked her for his contract to not be renewed. Then Tony Khan got word. He got in contact with Regal. Regal called him one night while he was in the hospital with his mom. Regal basically said, I want to go back to WWE and work with my son, who is now there in NXT. Eventually, they had another conversation backstage at an episode of Dynamite, and they came to the agreement that Regal can leave. Regal can go back to WWE, but he's not allowed to be on television. He kind of slid that part in where he was just and he will not be allowed to appear on television for them next year at all. So I don't know how long that's for. The full year, part of the year, quarter of the year, I don't know. But Regal will be going back to WWE at the start of the year, but he will only be in a backstage capacity as per terms of the agreement, which I am still confused on. He will not be allowed to do any on-camera stuff. But that then leads me to think, so Meltzer first said 1-year deal. Then Meltzer said, no, Regal has a 3-year deal. Then others, like Fightful, said his deal's up in December. So if his deal is up, even if there was an option, why is there the contingency of, yes, you can go, but you can't work on TV? I don't get that. Because if there was an option and they just don't pick up the option, that's not letting him out of his contract early.
It has to be either there's an option, but if you go out of that contract with that option, you can't really be on TV for any major promotion.
So the one thing
seeming
go for it.
Or unless he asked for his release, Tony Khan gave him his release, but there's terms in that release where one of those terms is you can't be on screen for WWE.
Which leads me to believe that it is longer than a 1-year deal. And even if it was just, see, that's the other thing. He appeared in April. So even if it was a 1-year deal, 1 year is still to April. Why do you sign a May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December? Why do you sign a 8 or 9 month deal? That's just kind of weird. But regardless, Regal's going back to WWE. It's been known for a couple of weeks. So when they made the Blackpool Combat Club all look surprised that Regal's leaving, it kind of did make them look a little dumb. Not in storyline wise, but in real world kayfabe or whatever.
It's like the word Blackpool and Blackpool Combat Club. That's Regal. Regal's the
Exactly.
Blackpool.
But I think that's why they wanted him to do the line of, even though I'm not here, I will always be Blackpool Combat Club till the day I die. Just to kind of be like, I give you the name or something like that, even though I'm not here. So going forward, we got a video for the House of Black. They basically said we're back in action next week. Tony Schiavone then had his pre-recorded backstage sit-down interview with the AEW Women's World Champion, Jamie Hayter, who said she finally has a chance to speak. Schiavone asked her thoughts on Hikaru Shida versus the Bunny on Rampage for the Regina Del Wave title, and I'm like, why? What does that have to do with anything with Jamie Hayter and the world title? And then she just goes, oh, I'm going to be watching that match closely because my next challenger can come out of that. Okay, cool. So it's Jamie Hayter and Shida coming up soon then. Going forward, we had a trios match. Not anything that I was excited for. And the match didn't blow my skirt up at all. It was Jade Cargill, Layla Gray, and Red Velvet against Sky Blue, Madison Rayne, and Kira Hogan. And by the end of this, Red Velvet almost seemed like she's over Jade and doesn't want to be a baddie no more. She seemed annoyed. Sky Blue and Red Velvet started off the match with some near falls as Velvet. This was Velvet's first match since June. Gray and Velvet picked apart Blue, who fought off Gray, dropkicked Velvet to the floor, tried a dropkick, and another dropkick, and Velvet trapped her in the ring apron to take over. Blue and Red then collided with a double down spot as they hit double thrust kicks. Hogan and Cargill made the tags for their first appearances in the match as Hogan ran wild on her former baddie running mate. Cargill then blocked a Hogan boot to connect with a choke slam. Hogan then spun out of Jaded, tagged Madison Rayne, who tried a ripcord, but Cargill countered, hit the Jaded, and picked up the victory. So Jade's kind of like trying to celebrate, but the whole time after the match, Red Velvet's just standing there going, like super annoyed.
To me, maybe it's leading to maybe the baddies are gonna leave Jade because maybe we're tired of helping you win.
Yeah.
Type thing. If that's the case, then Jade's probably gonna lose the belt soon.
I mean, that's the big question. How and when? How and when? So Schiavone backstage. Go for it. You gonna say something?
I mean, when Chris Statlander is coming back? Because she's the one that I think should take the belt off Jade.
Oh, she's gone for a long time. Basically full on ACL surgery again.
I know a lot of people were kind of pissed off that Athena should have been the one to take the belt off Jade.
I agree. That's why I'm like, you need to put that ROH title on her. Backstage, Tony Schiavone is with Saraya. She got a couple of words in. She's like, it's good to just be here with you and not Britt. Oh, there she is. Britt Baker gave Saraya some tickets for the LA show in January. And I'm like, what? Why are you giving her? This chick works for the company and is cutting a backstage promo, but you told her the only way she can be at the LA show is to buy a ticket? Like, that made no sense. She would then go on to state that I've always got the AEW Women's Champion Jamie Hayter by my side, except for right now. But in the Kia Forum, it's going to be me and Jamie Hayter against you and a partner of my choosing. And then Britt walks off, and Saraya looks over at Tony and is like, so do we do the thing? Do we do the thing? And then Britt grabs Tony and goes, come with me. And they leave before Saraya. Because I think Saraya wanted to make fun of Britt and do the DMD thing or whatever with Tony. I don't know. They set up a match for a month down the line. Cool. Again, why are we making the women's champion second fiddle to Britt Baker? Jamie's the champ. Like, what the fuck? I don't like this.
Gotta give Britt Baker a little bit of a backseat on this one.
Honestly, I think the only solution, or the only end game here is eventually Jamie goes, Britt, I'm tired of you talking for me. I'm the champion, not you. And then Jamie turns babyface and she feuds with Britt. As far as stuff coming up over the next week, this week's Rampage, Orange Cassidy will be defending the AEW All-Atlantic Championship against an opponent of Kip Sabian's choosing. Hikaru Shida will defend the Regina DeWave title against the Bunny, with the winner eventually getting a shot at the AEW Women's Championship, Jamie Hayter, in the future. We will hear from both Ruby Soho and Ty Mello. Lee Moriarty and Big Bill W. Morrissey will be in tag team action. Athena will adjust Mercedes Martinez ahead of her title match at Final Battle, and John Moxley will be taking on Konosuke Takeshita. As far as Final Battle does go, Chris Jericho will be defending the Ring of Honor World title against Claudio Castagnoli. If Castagnoli loses, he must join the JAS. FTR. Well, this match was announced at the end of the show. FTR will be defending the ROH tag team titles against the Briscoe brothers in a double dog collar match. Daniel Garcia will defend the ROH TV championship once again against Wheeler Yuta. Mercedes Martinez will be defending the ROH Women's Championship against Athena. Samoa Joe will be defending the ROH TV championship against Juice Robinson. The ROH six-man tag team titles will be on the line when Dalton Castle and the boys defend against Brian Cage in the Gates of Agony. Swerve in Our Glory will be taking on Shane Taylor and JD Griffey. As far as next week's AEW Dynamite, winter is coming. We do know that MJF will be defending the AEW World Championship and the Dynamite Diamond Ring against Ricky Starks, and House of Black will be in action, plus match 4 in the Best of 7 series for the AEW Trios Championship between the Death Triangle and the Elite. So we got a bunch of stuff announced for the next week. Then we go to the main event. The main event was great. I thoroughly enjoyed FTR versus the Acclaimed. Going into it, I didn't care who won because there was positives both ways, basically. Like, I didn't... Honestly, yes, FTR probably, in my opinion, should have won and had all the gold. But at the same time, I like that they didn't beat the Acclaimed. The Acclaimed, I mean, look at the crowds every week. Whose merch do you see more? Signs for who do you see more? The Acclaimed. So this was not the time to beat the Acclaimed. And in saying that, it's like, okay, there's no negative in beating FTR. Like, you would say, well, there's pluses and minuses. There's pros and cons for this and that. No. I think as much as I wanted to see FTR with all 4 titles, they made the right call. For business, they made the right call. But wouldn't be Max Caster. Go for it.
I honestly kind of thought FTR would win because, in my mind, I kind of like EW just wanted to like hurry up and put the EW tag titles on FTR because their contracts are coming up over the summer, and FTR did talk about maybe we just don't find somewhere for a while and just work the indies.
I mean, there's still time. I don't think the contracts are up till June. So there's time to put the belts on them.
If you want to give them like a lengthy run with like all 4 belts.
Right. But and here's the other problem. How long can both AAA and New Japan just be like, sure, Tony Khan, your guys can keep our belts? Like, eventually they're going to want new champions in their promotions. So it's like
FTR, they've been I know they've been like the AAA champions for like a long time now. Eventually they got to drop those belts.
Exactly. And one thing on them losing tonight, they did keep doing this, like Excalibur mentioned multiple times. You know, FTR, they've been traveling the world. They're probably tired and they're probably worn out and this and that. He's like, they've been winning titles and defending them in Japan and Mexico and all over and da-da-da-da. So I think we were supposed to think that they lost because they weren't as fresh as the Acclaimed. Also, it wouldn't be Max Caster without a political joke. He said, you guys are going to lose just like Herschel Walker. So, where was I here? Both teams did quick tag stuff early on where they were tagging in and out. As Caster hit a quick hip toss, drop kick, and arm drag on Harwood, Bowens would tag in and immediately traded chops with Harwood. Things got a little choppy with a hip toss attempt that took out each man, and there was a shoving brawl as well. Cash Wheeler was sent to the outside as Harwood was hit with the Scissor Me Timbers. Harwood tried a sharpshooter, but Caster countered and the Acclaimed got the double sharpshooter on FTR. Wheeler and Harwood both got to the ropes. The Acclaimed then scissored with Daddy Ass. FTR then knocked Caster and Bowens outside, where they hit Caster with a slingshot using the bottom ropes for a guillotine. Or actually, not even the bottom ropes, the bottom of the ring for a guillotine. Caster was isolated during the entirety of a commercial break until he fought Wheeler off in the corner and hit a diving crossbody off the top rope. They then randomly just go, oh, look who's watching backstage. It's Jeff Jarrett, Satnam Singh, Samoa Joe, or Sanjay Dutt, not Samoa Joe, Sanjay Dutt and Jay Lethal. So Bowens made the hot tag and ran wild. Wheeler was sent to the outside via reverse Rough Rider as Harwood was lit up with a corner combo and a couple of strikes to get Bowens the near fall. Harwood battled back with a rolling German before Wheeler was on the apron and collided with Bowens. Harwood got a roll up with the tights for a 2, and Bowens hit a neckbreaker for a 2 of his own. It was a blind tag by Wheeler as FTR hit a spike pile driver for a close near fall, and Taz had to tell us, like he always does whenever someone does a pile driver, you know, I cringe every time I see that spike pile driver because that's what broke my broke my neck back in the 90s. FTR went for a double suplex as Caster took out Wheeler with a spear while Bowens hit a small, locked on a small package for a 2. Caster tagged in and hit a Cazadora cutter, but Harwood sent Caster colliding into his partner. FTR had to fight for everything they had and finally hit a big rig as Bowens would barely couldn't get that word out, break up the cover, and the crowd's going wild with This Is Awesome chants. FTR went for the powerplex as Wheeler made the tag, but Bowens sent Harwood to the floor. Bowens then hit the arrival on Wheeler, but Caster took too long and missed a mic drop. Bowens was then flattened by a slam by Wheeler, who turned Caster inside out with a lariat, and then a lariat, and then a lariat, and a pin, and a lariat, and a pin. Wheeler hit another home run lariat and a power bomb, but Caster rolled through his little roll-through pin, hooked the legs, and got the flash win. So it's kind of like the pin out of nowhere helps the champs retain. So after the match, Wheeler's all frustrated, but they all shook hands anyways and scissored in respect when the Ass Boys would appear on screen. And my first thought here was, okay, so it's the Gun Club against FTR for the ROH titles this weekend. Because Tony Khan kept saying over and over this morning, and he was asked, hey, why aren't FTR on the Ring of Honor pay-per-view? He's like, that will be addressed. I just can't say anything right now. So the Guns say that they have presents for FTR. And they pull out a card that says, we will see you at Final Battle, the Briscoes. Then, out of the stockings, they pull out dog collars and say, hey, it's a double dog collar match this weekend. But here's my gripe. Here's my one criticism. Does Ring of Honor not have any other tag teams? Is the only tag team in Ring of Honor the Briscoes? All you got are the Briscoes and FTR. Tony Khan has booked 3 pay-per-views for Ring of Honor this year, all seeing the Briscoes versus FTR. Briscoes, FTR, Briscoes, FTR. We know there's other teams like the Gates of Agony. So why are we again getting Briscoes, FTR when the Briscoes have lost 2 pay-per-views in a row now? Just saying. Thoughts on the main event?
The main event was fun. Match was good. I mean, a little surprised that FTR didn't win, but it's all good. It is a little too early to take the belts off of the Acclaim. Yeah, like build up for like Gun Club and like FTR was basically just all for nothing.
Yeah. The build for FTR and the Guns, even though it's kind of been meh, better than anything they've done to build up challengers for the Acclaimed. The Acclaimed just goof around and then get a match randomly, like they did tonight. So it's like, where are we going? What are we doing? Come on, Tony. Tony Khan was even asked, hey, is booking both AEW and Ring of Honor too much for you? And all he kept saying was, the future of Ring of Honor will be addressed after Final Battle this weekend. That's all I can say. He said it like 3 or 4 times.
Maybe it is stressing him out, and he just doesn't want to admit it.
Probably, but I have a feeling he's going to announce some sort of a weekly show, because he also said that following Final Battle, his plan is to use Ring of Honor stuff way less. Or he says that following Final Battle, Ring of Honor things will be featured way less on AEW television. So that leads me to believe that he's got some sort of a show announcement. I don't know if it's a TV deal. I don't know if he's just finally gone, screw it, we got to do something, YouTube it, Fight TV, maybe. I'm not sure, but I feel like an announcement is imminent following the show on Saturday. I don't know if they're doing a post-show press conference like they do with AEW pay-per-views. I would assume they would, because they've done them for the other Ring of Honor shows this year. So I think in that scrum, maybe he announces a weekly show or something for Ring of Honor.
So it would have to be like a weekly show.
Yeah. Whether that's on TV, on a streaming service, or on YouTube. Maybe put it on Fight. I mean, if Fall else fails, Fight will do something with you. But we'll see how it goes. I won't be watching Final Battle. I'm going to try and watch NXT Deadline. Can't guarantee it, because I'll be with family this weekend. Not sure exactly what we're doing and what's going on. But we do have some important things we have to discuss and take care of, since my father did pass away a week ago. So I'll keep you guys updated if I'm going to do a review for either of those shows. But as of right now, most likely not. But with that, that is everything that we've got to say about tonight's AEW Dynamite. Now we want to hear from you guys. Remember, you guys can be part of the show. Be part of the show by texting. Text in to, and whoop, I spelled that way wrong. Be part of the show by texting into 510-906-1341. Again, that's 510-906-1341. Before we get into all that, we got to check the polls, both of the Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube polls. So first off, the Twitch poll. 80% liked tonight's show, 10% thought it was just all right, and 10% did not like Dynamite. As far as the Twitter poll does go, 81% liked the show, this is weird, 81.3% did not like Dynamite, 18.8% didn't like Dynamite. As far as the YouTube poll does go, 70% liked it, 17% thought it was just all right, and 13% didn't like Dynamite. As far as some of the comments here, first one here says that the show was excellent. First says no. FTR and the Acclaim killed it. Ricky Starks is the best. Was funny the way he took down MJF in the middle of the ring. This person says, how is a double dog collar match supposed to go? I've never seen it before. Well, it's like a regular dog collar match. You and your opponent are tied together by dog collars. So a double dog collar match, it's just a way to say tag team dog collar match. So it would be like, for instance, Dax Harwood tied up to Jay Briscoe as Cash Wheeler is tied up to Mark Briscoe. It's all it is. It's just one tag team partner, one tag team partner, one tag team partner, one tag team partner. This person says, the whole world ate... What? That makes no sense. Not even going to read it. And this person says, the Jamie Hayter agenda continues. As far as text messages do go, see what we got here. Let's refresh it. Got a couple. This person says, did you catch the Miz and Maurice on the People's Choice Awards last night? Bro, I wouldn't have even known that the People's Choice Awards were on last night. Person says, do you think the best of 7 series will see the Elite versus House of Black? First off, you're getting ahead of yourself there. You should ask, do you think the Elite wins the best of 7? Yes. And then you should then say, will the House of Black become their next challengers? Because the best of 7 has nothing to do with House of Black. But I do believe that it's going to end up being the Elite defending against House of Black eventually.
what other trios do you really have that could challenge them and
Yep.
potentially take the belts off the Elite?
Right. You had so many potential trios, and then for some reason, now that we have trios titles, I go, where are all these trios? Like, where'd they go? It's weird. This person says, is MJF going to eventually defend the world title against Danielson? Would MJF defend it at the Seattle Dynamite or the LA Dynamite? I mean, him and Danielson at the Seattle Dynamite would not be a bad idea. There is a slight build there and story, so I wouldn't be against it. I would do it at the Seattle one for sure, his hometown. This person says, who was Regal's son in NXT? Now, I know his face. I don't know his name because I don't watch NXT regularly, but give me 1 second and I will tell you.
I think it's Charlie Dempsey.
That's right. Yep. As soon as you said it. Yep. That's right. Charlie Dempsey. So if I can, in case you've never seen him, Charlie Dempsey, pull up his superstar page. This here, in case you guys haven't seen, is Regal's son. Right here. Charlie Dempsey. This is William Regal's son. He was in NXT UK. When they basically shut down NXT UK, he was brought to regular NXT. He's worked some matches on regular NXT. He's worked some matches on Level Up, but he's good. He's a really good. I get almost Timothy Thatcher vibes from him sometimes with the way he does the technical ground and pound wrestling. So I get Timothy Thatcher vibes when I watch him wrestle. I've seen a handful of matches. I can't say I've seen a lot, but every match I have seen from him, I feel like, oh, him and Timothy Thatcher would make a great tag team. And the last one here says, Miro might be Kip's pick to go against Orange Cassidy Friday. What do you guys think? I wouldn't think that because the last time they were together, they didn't like each other. They were feuding and Miro took him out. So doubt it. Highly, highly doubt it. Who do you think challenges Orange Cassidy like it even matters?
I don't know, honestly. It's probably just going to be some random person that we haven't seen in a while.
Right. So with that, that's everything we got. That's all we got for tonight's AEW Dynamite review. The internet hung in there unlike it did on Monday because that was a shit show and a half. So we're good to go. No, I will not be streaming later on twitch.tv/TimmyBuddy. I've got to create graphics for a conference in Dallas, Texas tomorrow. And we weren't given all the stuff to actually start working until 2 days ago. So we're working on last minute, even though we've known that we're doing this for 2.5 weeks. We've had the job for well over 2 weeks, yet they didn't give us any of the stuff we needed to create the graphics for pre-production till Monday. And I'm like, yeah, when something's not 100% to your liking, don't come bitching at me because I did the best I can on the limited time I was given. So I'm going to be busy doing that stuff tonight. So unfortunately, I will not be streaming. With that, guys, have a great night. Have a great rest of your week. I'll be back Friday for the wrestling wrap-up. Then we'll do SmackDown Friday night. Maybe we'll get this handsome guy over here to join me on SmackDown review. See how that goes. And have some fun. So with that, guys, have a great rest of your night. And we'll see you next time. Have a good one, guys.